No heroes. No heroes. No heroes, baby.
Hello everyone, we are back with round 4 and due to high request from other people, I want to preface for the record, not me. We're gonna have NAMI against Law, and I would usually ask how is the matchup gonna go, but since NAMI is like a special leader where you need to play differently, unlike again, okay, there's some leaders you need to play differently in general, but NAMI in specific is like either she can find the cards and mill herself to 0, or she dies. It's one of the two. But Law is a fast deck, a pretty aggressive deck, and being able to bottom deck her cards to stop her from getting to 0 is quite handy. But before I get to the round and before the players start, I want to quickly mention we're gonna have a giveaway for today by none other than Ultimate Guard sponsored. So we're gonna have one beautiful deck box and sleeves to go right along them to give away later on after this round. So stay around. I will talk about the details after the round. So just a quick reminder, there's gonna be a giveaway sponsored by Ultimate Guard. So also thank you Ultimate Guard for sponsoring the stream. And yeah, while the players are setting up, Ben, tell me more about NAMI and why you are so looking forward to see this deck.
So NAMI, like you said rightfully there, is such a unique and interesting leader, right? For those that are just getting their first eyes maybe on the One Piece trading card game, typically to win a game of One Piece, you've got to reduce your opponent's life from 5 or 4 to 0, and then do one more attack to win the game from there, right? NAMI doesn't care about that. NAMI doesn't care about attacking. She cares about finding all of those cards that are in your deck straight into your discard pile. So what you're going to see is a lot of events being used primarily, but also cards like Kaya, cards like Zeph, to be able to try and get some more cards into the discard pile quickly. And it is as soon as you hit 0 cards in deck, you win the game. That's the line of text that is printed onto the NAMI, as we are already underway with that filtration, our first Kaya of the game.
Indeed. No, and probably not gonna be the last one. It also reminds me of a certain thing. Wait, is that All Stars?
All Stars was trashed, yeah. All Stars and Deathwing trashed, yeah.
I mean, if they're not in your life, then you might as well get them out of the way. So we're gonna have a 5k swing, which is probably gonna be answered by. It didn't look like a buggy. It looks like Mr. 1, but I'm not sure. Yeah, Mr. 1. All right. So this is also quite funny because I mentioned earlier Ultimate Guard is sponsoring the stream, and I'm certain one of the leading people in Ultimate Guard is also a NAMI player. I remember it from Utrecht. But yeah, there we go. Both hits been counted out with 1k, and with 4 done open, we probably just gonna swing into the Zoe, because why would we give the Law player any more cards that they don't need in the hand? And 3 down tapped, Sun just peel off. So I would assume that's gonna be a pass right there.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine so. One Don being left open, and you'll see that in NAMI a lot, just holding that 1 or 2 Don, even towards the later turns, holding pretty much all your Don, because as we said at the beginning of the game, NAMI primarily operates on the opponent's turn, using those counter events that have added effects to be able to draw cards or trash cards from the top of your deck for their cost. And the like. You'll also see quite a few triggers activated as one isn't chosen to be declared there. The 5k leader swing allowed to go through, and follow it up with a Eustace Captain Kid blocker as well.
So this smash like there's gonna be a bottom deck of the Kaya. which for some people would be like, oh man, one card more. But I've seen people being like, I'm looking forward to have certain cards in the bottom of my deck, so I know what I can draw into in the late game. But we're gonna see. Chacha Penguin got played out, adding 2 Dawn back, then using Kid's ability, so basically being exactly at 5. And we're gonna see what's the name? I think it's one of the cards that looks at the top 3 cards.
Sparta.
Thank you.
Desert Sparta. Yeah, going to be able to order the top 3 cards of Peter's deck. Try and see what card he wants to draw into to start this next turn. What potentially find off the likes of some Sanji's Pilafs. Maybe things that get trashed away with like Rubber Band of Doom and things like that. Just a really, really nice, unique card, and obviously another option to protect yourself at just 1 Don in this early stage of the game for Nami.
Got it. So Nami swinging in 5. It's gonna be answered by Kid. I mean, I guess there's nothing else that could happen. And that Kid is gonna put in the work, because now the characters are pretty much protected all the time. We see 3 Dawn open, so there is the potential of Deathwing, but with so many cards in hand, I would assume not.
Yeah, it feels a little early. Feels a little early for Deathwinks right now. Obviously, that massive plus 6k, then draw until you have 2 cards. Or draw so that you have 2 cards in your hand. You ideally want to save that for the bigger attacks, for potentially when your opponents sort of either just try and think that they can go for game mathematically, or even to a state where they'll get sort of frustrated a little bit. That is one thing that this Nami deck can do, with the ability to operate on your opponent's turn, is just frustrate your opponent and think, oh, okay, they're not attacking, they're just doing their own thing. Why can I not get through?
And there we have the White Snake. I was about to say, is it gonna be Deathwing, or is it what's most likely gonna be White Snake? And it is gonna be White Snake, so forcing all the characters to be now 6k to swing, and we are continuing to poke. And with 5 Dawn open, and there's maybe it's just another Kid coming down, minusing 3 Dawn to play another body and flooding the board.
I'd be interested to see what the follow-up play is for this lore deck, as we're going to Sparta once again. Which is important as well, because those first 3 cards that were Desert Sparta'd last turn, Pete's already seen now. So once you get a fresh look at what's going on in the top 3 cards of the deck, obviously you had to draw 1 for turn and then play the Sanji's Pilaf. That's all 3 that was already knowledge to the Nami player. So now we want to get another look, and while we're able to counter away these smaller, earlier swings with Desert Sparta, this is the perfect time for it. So great execution there in this early stage for Nami.
Indeed. I'll be right back.
As it looks like we're going to continue to attack here for the red-purple lore player. This is going to be the blocker lore that is going to look to attack. This is a 7k swing. It has to be, of course, to get that extra little bit of buffer zone. White Snake boosting Nami to 6 for this turn. The life is going to be taken. No Don available left. Don't want to be wasting your 2Ks either. As Nami, you typically only play the 4 Kayas as 2Ks, and even then, they're not even in this deck for the counter. They're in there to just continue to thin away the deck, as a Reiju is played off the leader effect, and it's over to the Nami turn. At my count, there should be 30 cards left in deck.
How are you keeping track of this?
So I've got the old-fashioned way. I've got the pen and pad out, just trying to keep an eye on what's going on.
All right. Well, you do you. And I do, we are two different people. I'm like on the, on the low side, like, okay, I'm just gonna play up my cards and
Yeah.
rush you down. And you're like, well, 50 cards in my deck. How do I get down to 0?
Exactly. That's the mindset you got to have. That's the mindset you got to have with this NAMI deck. It is your only way you're going to win. You're not engineering your deck to be able to sort of have both strategies available to you, the more sort of traditional way to play the game, as it were. You've got to make sure that you are getting the most out of these draw effects and these discard effects. And the NAMI player is going to be able to do so here with Arabesque Brickfist bouncing his own Kaya back to hand.
But not playing it out.
Yeah, but I think that's smart. I think that's smart because if it gets played out again, sure, you draw another 2 cards from your deck. You get that one step closer to trying to deck yourself out. But it's just going to get bounced straight back into the deck. So you're effectively only drawing and getting 1 step closer as opposed to 2 steps for the 1 Don investment, which just in this deck, every use of Don and every card that is drawn or discarded really, really matters. So I really like the decision actually not to play it down straight away.
But I'm so confused about one thing. I never see a NAMI player use their ability to swing and attach 1 Don to another white snake.
I have seen it before. That was back in EU finals in, I think it was round 14, the winner in match. The NAMI player was up against Sakazuki and managed to attach and let an attack go through because all the cards that were in the Sakazuki player's hand were either like no counter or 1k and just not enough to get past, I think it was a 7k swing, and it got them 1 step closer to play down a Zephyr NAMI, and it was perfect.
All right, and yeah, we have another counter event to trash more cards from the deck. So what's the count for right now?
That was the giant gavel, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, it was. But
to trash 2 more cards. Now we're going to see a Love Mellow as well. I think that drew 1 more. So already you see what we were saying and what we meant about that, like just that 1 extra card for that extra Kaya being kept the next turn. You opened yourself up to so many more options, and a Sanji's Pilaf off the trigger as well. That's massive.
That is tough. I'll be honest, that's tough. Swinging now 8 into the leader. And just taking it.
Yeah, because these are the big swings now that get a little bit more awkward. When you are an NAMI player, this is where you do need your cards like Deathwink, just to make sure that you're not getting overwhelmed by any big swings in that turn, in your next turn.
Yeah, but this is, I mean, you are on 1 life. You are making yourself open to Kid and Killer.
Yeah, it's definitely a dangerous matchup to be in when you're NAMI, but I just know I've seen this NAMI deck operate, and I know how strong and how good that it can be. As there's just going to be a little bit of discussion as to how much Don is actually available. So with NAMI at 6k at the moment, obviously Queen herself is at 6, so any Don that's placed underneath is just going to try and help the red purple law player push a little bit more damage in and get that 1 last life taken. We'll have to see how the NAMI player decides to deal with this one, as it looks like the attack is now being declared at 8.
Yeah, it is going to be at 8. There was a small misconception with how much Don was available. We are counting now the deck, and are we now in a place where, I mean, this does not look like the NAMI player has quote unquote lethal anytime soon.
No,
So
we're still a little bit of a way. From my count, it's 22 that's left in deck at the moment. Obviously, we draw one for turn, it'll be 21. Still does have that Kaya in hand that was Arabic Brick Fisted, or used Arabic Brick Fist on it, I should say. But how are we gonna? Oh, we're actually gonna use a Kaya for counter here.
So we dispatch one Kaya and is that the buggy I thought
That
or
is a
something?
buggy, yeah, that's the buggy.
Okay.
Which allows you to help try and find the impel down events. So typically you're looking for your Deathwinks there as searches, but also impel down all stars just as an easy sort of discard option as well.
So there is 2 more cards, so we are at 19. If I would go by your word.
my maths didn't do me any wrong in finals, so we'll see
so
if we can finish
discarding
ring
a
through here.
Brick Fist and a input on All-Stars, so I think this is the second or third one that we saw. Swinging 5 onto one of the bodies, I would assume.
Yeah,
This
and
will be answered.
You've got to try and mitigate any of the attacks that are coming through. I mean, you made a very good point earlier as the law player's turn was ending, actually, Mo, in the Kid and Killer in this deck. Obviously, we know that the Zorro are in this list, but if Kid and Killer is being played as well, it's a very dangerous sort of thing to leave yourself open for. We'll just have to see how the rest of this game and how the rest of this turn goes out. There's a Sarge's Pilaf that gets sent to the discard pile by Rubber Band of Doom. And
Is that another one?
Still a little bit of a way away, but still, I think that's 7 Don left to work with.
Indeed. But that's 5 swings. Okay, 4 swings. And there may or may not be a Kid and Killer also coming down. So we swing 7. Yeah, we're gonna have a Love Beam. And drawing another card.
There's one more, still too far away right now at the very least. Now here comes another 7. Here's going to be Gavel. Discard Gavel for cost. And get to 14. There goes one of the Deathwinks.
Alright. So swinging in 6. There we go.
There is the Deathwink.
1 and 2.
Had to happen at some stage. I mean, obviously there are still 2 potential attacks here, but with 1 Don left available, if one of those cards is Desert Sparta or even Gavel, or Gavel won't work because you have to trash a card from hand. So
Alright. But it's gonna be just. Alright, we're gonna take the last one. And it seems that it's gonna be a trigger. But which trigger could it be?
No, just counting. I think that's 11 or 12. I've got it as 12, so we'll have to see.
Because right now, if the law player has a rush option and I mean the player Kid and Killer ends all, so there's a chance Kid and Killer can swing for up to 9, which would require what is that? There's a 1 cost event that gives 4k, but at the cost of
that'll be Gavel. That'll be Gavel, and we've already seen at least 3.
Alright, so deciding to not use the trigger, so returning done, playing out.
It is the Kid and Killer.
Kid and Killer, getting back it done, so swinging it, leader for 9, and there's the fist bump.
That's it.
There is no kid. There's no Gather because I think with 3 cards in hand, there would have been the chance that he had Gather get 4K, and then have a one card, one card,
One
1K
cost card.
counter,
Yeah.
1K counter. That's what I'm trying to say. To go to 10, but we didn't get to that. So congrats to the law player. Ben, what do you really think about Nami? Is it gonna be great in OPO7 with the new 2-cost stage card that plays itself? I think it's Lockdown or something like that.
Logetown. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, right? Because I think the thing with a NAMI deck and NAMI lists in general is that they are so refined and so streamlined, especially with the heavy event package that we have right now. Because I mean, okay, so we're going to go for a little history lesson while we've got a little bit of time as well. Originally, there were 2 schools of thought in NAMI when it got released and the card support got revealed for it alongside it in the original set OPO3. Alongside the event package, which we now see today, there was also a character-based package that came out. There was the super rare Usopp, secret rare Soga Kings as well. Obviously, Zeph that's carried through into this event-based package because of the utility of it, being able to continue to bounce Kayas and recycle them like Arabic Brickfist, but just on a body. But a lot of players thought, okay, that the character list is a little too slow. The event package is a little more streamlined, gives me a little bit more protection, while still trying to achieve my main win condition, right? So Logetown as an option could be interesting, but I think I can't see it making a massive splash purely because of the amount of events that you have to play in NAMI right now. There might be an argument for maybe replacing a couple of copies of Impel Down All-Stars so that you've got discard fodder immediately. If you've got the Logetown stage out on board, you can discard similarly to what we'll see with Impel Down All-Stars. It's just essentially there to help discard for the cost of Gum Gum Giant Gavel. But I feel like without some refinement and without some testing at the moment right now, it feels a little bit risky. I like just having the continuous guaranteed events. So it's a long-winded way of saying we'll see. NAMI is NAMI is one of those decks that always has the capacity to make a stamp and make it a splash at a tournament, especially if it draws well. The player is very, very skilled as well and knows when to counter with certain events, when to take the life, when to activate triggers, and when not to as well. So yeah, it'll be really, really interesting. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see some innovation, but I think with where we are at the moment with NAMI, right now at least, I can't see Logetown making a huge impact.
Right. Thank you for your take on Lockdown.